My $3 digital file shop has made me anywhere from $10,000 per month all the way up to $47,000 per month over the past 3 years. And in this video, I'm breaking down exactly how I was able to scale this type of shop so that you can replicate it in your own. Real quick here, just to show you some quick Etsy stats from my dashboard. If you have been around, you know that my shop has been public on this channel for a long time. So you can always look at the number of sales and just do some quick math. But if not, here are a few different numbers. So as you can see, in January, from January 1 to January 31st, we did over $47,000, over 10,000 sales. And if we move it up to just last year and switch the dates to 2024, you can see that in the same month, I was able to still hit over $10,000 in that month alone. My shop has now done over $1.1 million over the last few years, again with a simple $3 to $5 digital design product that I sell on Etsy. For the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to pick a profitable audience, how to find keywords that still have low competition so that you can actually get found by your customers, and then how to quickly create your design products with AI. As a bonus, I'm also going to show you how to build your own traffic source that Etsy doesn't own so that you aren't reliant on the algorithm or worrying about competition, and you're actually able to scale your shop to these types of numbers like I did. Also, be sure to grab my free starter guide for Etsy down in the description below. It also comes with 100 AI prompts that you can use to create trending designs. So the first step I did in creating this type of shop was to choose a profitable audience. Now, in my opinion, a profitable audience is one that comes back to your shop over and over again. So they're not people who come and just buy something like maybe a digital planner that they need once per year, or maybe it's an undated planner so they never come back again, but it's someone who wants continuous products. So in my case, I chose the sublimation design space. If you aren't familiar with what sublimation is, it is basically just a digital design that people purchase or create. They print with a sublimation printer and then they apply it on their products, like in this case, a tumbler, which is what I am known for, and then they sell it to their customers. So essentially they are small business owners, making it really easy to be in this space because I'm basically selling B2B instead of B to a final customer. The reason that they need constant new designs for every season and holiday imaginable is because their customer is always buying new products from them. So the same designs that were popular this year in today's style are not going to be relevant next year. And so they continue to come back over and over again because they are in the business of selling products to their customers. Another example of a profitable audience, not in the digital design space of, say, sublimation or SVG files, if you are familiar with like a Cricut or a silhouette cutting machine, would be something in the printable space for teachers or moms who homeschool. They will constantly need printables to print out, or activity sheets, because they need new ones every time students need to redo them, or they have a new set of students, or it's just a new type of activity that is trending. So this is something that is in the more Canva template type of a niche. And I do have an entire video. I will pop that up on the screen here if you want to check out that type of product. But essentially, the process moving forward, whether you are choosing something in the printable space or in the digital design space like mine, is going to be the same. So you'll want to follow these steps still in the same way. So once you choose a profitable audience, next it's time to choose profitable products, which means keywords that are actually trending on Etsy. So this means people are searching and they're typing it in, as Etsy is a search engine. So we don't want to be just creating anything that pops into our head just because we think it might be a good idea for, say, teachers or sublimation crafters or business owners. We need to be creating things that are actually in demand, in styles that are in demand as well. Okay, so to quickly do your research to make sure you can find trending keywords with low competition is to hop over to Etsy and type in your base keyword. So let's just say you are creating in the space for sublimation designs, in this case, a PNG design. You're going to want to type in some variation of a keyword like this. So for me, I just typed in trendy fall PNG design. If you don't want to include fall, let's say you're not going to be creating for fall, you would just want to delete that and search for trendy fall or trendy PNG design. In this case, I feel like making a fall design as we're in the middle of fall and there's still a little bit of time to get these types of designs up. So personally, I use the Chrome extension Etsy Radar, which is offered through Profit Tree. And this is because I want to be able to quickly see what listings are doing well that I can go and make my own version of, because I need to be looking for items that have low competition or have been listed a shorter amount of time than something that has, say, been listed over a year ago and has lots of reviews and sales, because as a new seller, you're not going to be able to compete on those. So with this installed, I have it down here and it will display the data right down here below. So all I'm looking for are listings that have a low listing age, so anything under 6 months old, that are still selling well. So this one has 121 monthly sales and it has a listing age of only 3 months. Another way to look at this is if they have bestseller badges right here, or they are popular now. They will also say in 20 plus carts if you were to click into the listing. So as I scroll down, all I'm looking is for similar patterns. So this would be a similar pattern here, that it is this what is called the doodle style or trinket style. If you've watched one of my recent trend videos, this is technically, I think, what the name is called of this style, where it's really like just hand-drawn elements. Sometimes it will have a little quote or a phrase, but it's supposed to look very hand-drawn, natural, with transparent images, and then some text in the middle, or like with this one, it doesn't have any text. So I'm looking for things like this. Here is another one. Here is a different variation of one, though it's a little bit different in the style. As you can see, this bundle of doodle style ones are doing well right here, and this has only been up 1 month and it's already doing super well, but it is just a set of 4 of them. Here is another version of it, and as you can see, this is just a trend or a style that is really popping off right now on Etsy. So for me, Profit Tree makes it really easy to quickly see the numbers. So for example, this one is not even a month old, though it's had 212 sales, and the reviews on this is only about 1,000 reviews, so it's not necessarily a super established seller. If you look at someone like myself, you'll see that I have, I believe, over 35 or 33,000 reviews right here. So if you can see that this number is low as far as reviews, that generally means it's a newer shop. And if the listing is doing well, that's even a better sign to take a closer look and see if it's something that you could create for your shop. Profit Tree is one of the best keyword research tools, especially if you are just starting out. As you can see on this page, I am using a different view of the Etsy Radar per se. It is really the product finder, so this is doing it a little bit of a different way versus using Etsy and going through all of the listings and getting distracted by designs. So this way, and I actually prefer this method to getting distracted with all of the designs first, because then you can kind of wind up going down a rabbit hole looking at the designs versus just looking at the numbers and deciding what you're going to create. So this is basically the way that I would recommend to do the research starting out. So let's say you are selling trending digital PNGs. I've just typed in a trendy digital PNG as my keyword, and then I'm just looking at the monthly sales right here and the listing age. So I really don't care about the total revenue, as I want to make sure that it's just having a high number of monthly sales, showing that it's current and active. So until I find one, so this would be a good example right here. It's a little older, 7 months, but it's averaging 361 sales per month. Or this would be a good one right here, which it's only 1 month old, but it's averaging 254 sales. Now that's just 1 month because It's very new. It's only been up 1 month. And what I like to do is just go through and make a list of all of these and then go ahead and start my design and creation process so that I'm not getting distracted looking on Etsy. This is using my lifetime profit tree account. So as you can see, some of the columns are blurred out, but honestly, you really just need these two numbers to make a decision to move forward with. You would repeat the process if you are doing anything else. So let's just say you are going to create printables for teachers. I'm just typing in teacher printable. The process is still the same. You're typing in a base keyword, looking at those numbers. So looking for low listing ages and a high monthly sale number. So here we have one for, let's see, we don't want to look at these. This one would be good. 3 months old. It is 348 sales. It's a teacher appreciation printable. And then you can go ahead and click through on the view on Etsy button right here to move over to Etsy and get a little bit more data and information on that here. Here's a good example of one for 1 month old, 166 sales. It's a sports back to school bulletin board type of, let's see, bulletin board activities. So a lot of these are going to take a little bit more time on the printable and planner type of product side of things, but they also can sell for a higher price point. And they also do generally have a high volume of search as well. So since the doodle theme or design style is doing really well, I'm going to make my own version of it. But also what I like to do is do an additional search for a somewhat related keyword, or sometimes not, to see a different type of design style or aesthetic that is also trending for a different keyword, and then I can cross combine it. Because if I were to make this cozy vibes one in a doodle style with really the same type of layout, I'm probably not going to get much traction as a new seller, just again because I do not have a proven history with Etsy or proven sales. And so it's in my best interest to try and create something that is unique and different, and an easy way to do this is cross niche with a different design style, something that I'm not seeing that's popping up on this page. So in a different Etsy tab, I just typed in fall design, and as you can see, something very popular is popping up all over on these first two rows. It's called All the Fall Things, or whatever Blink 182 says. And before someone jumps in the comments and says that's copyright, I'm not going to do it that way, but this is a good example of to take something that's popular, of something that's trendy. If you don't know what this song is, please do some research on some past music. I'm not going to age myself here, but it was a very popular song, and they're doing the skeleton because of the type of, I guess this would be, I'm not sure what type of music they would be considered, but it's really All the Small Things is the title of the song. It might not even be the title now that I'm thinking about it, but it's not even the words of the song, let's just say that. So All the Fall Things, but they're using a skeleton, they're doing bats, they're doing the punk rocker type of thing with the skeleton hands and doing the little sign, and then it's a play on the words of the song title or parts of it. So that being said, since this is very popular, we have bestseller, 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 bestseller. This is something that is really popping off and popular, and the doodle style that we saw is really popular and new. So I'm going to combine the two just because I haven't seen that done with that phrase, so all the fall things instead of cozy vibes. And then with the coquette type of doodle style that this has in here, I'm going to combine it with the punk rocker and the skeleton and the bat, so it's more of a fall slash Halloween vibe. And just so people know, the bats and the skeleton thing is more of an evergreen niche more than ever. It's not really a fall design per se, as people buy Halloween designs and bats and skulls and skeletons year round. Take it from me, from experience, they do. So this is a design that I think would do well, though with the fall things, maybe not so much, but the design overall. I'll probably make a version where it has the text and not the text as well, so that it could theoretically sell year round. Okay, so enough rambling about your research. Essentially, you want to look for things that are popular now, bestsellers, are a low listing age and then have a good amount of monthly sales. And then move on into your design process, which is what we're going to do next with one of my favorite AI tools in Kittl. So over here in Kittl, all I'm doing is creating an artboard for a PNG t-shirt size, since that is what these will typically go on, would be a sweatshirt or a t-shirt design. So that is typically 4,500 by 5,400 pixels. And that will size it so that it will fit on your t-shirt or sweatshirt. As you can see, it's more vertical than it is square. So real quick right here, I want to call out something super important with Kittl, especially if you are just starting out in this space. And that is that they are giving away 10 million free AI generations on Kittl, even with free accounts. I do believe that the free accounts are limited to a certain amount per day, but it is enough for you to get started and see what it's like to actually use all of the built-in features that Kittl has as far as editing, along with some of their most popular AI generators. So yes, as it says here that they are limited to 20 per day, but if you do have a pro account, which I know most of the viewers on this channel do have, then you are able to access unlimited until they run out. This started on November 1st and they will be available until they actually run out. So do be sure to get your account started as soon as possible so that you can take part of all of these generations that they are offering. The link to try out Kittl will be down in the description below. Okay, so getting back to our design, we're going to be creating that doodle style, which looks really hand-drawn, kind of cutesy, kind of coquette. Coquette is something that has been super popular this past year, which is feminine bows and pink, though this one we won't have to necessarily do pink. But we need to make sure that it is this hand-drawn, realistic, just coloring book style almost. They're just simple outlines, nothing fancy at all, compared to say a design like this where it's very watercolor and very detailed, or something like this. So this is very, very easy to do in Kittl, which is why I love it. And there basically is no editing to do this type of design if you are using the correct AI presets. So to use Kittl's AI, you'll just type on or hit this little diamond button over here, and then we're going to type in our prompt. So for this, I am just typing in a clean black outline of a cute pumpkin, but I'm not going to make it cute because sometimes that will make it look very like have a face and have smiling, and we don't want that. So just a clean back outline of a pumpkin, no fill, doodle style is all that you need to do. I've already generated them down here, and I actually created a saved set. So if you come over here to tools and did sets generator, theoretically you could go ahead and copy and paste all 6 of these in here at once. But I just find that with the quality, when you do it this way and then click on your saved setting of, let's say you create that first one first and then you put that in here so that it makes that same style, which is what it's doing every time. I just found that the doodle style wasn't as clean, meaning the background was harder to remove. So for me, even though this will be quicker, it would take you longer to edit them, remove the background, and get them cleaned up. And that's just not what I have time for. So I would rather do them individually and then go ahead and arrange them how I want to in the way that the doodle style does. So to create ours, I am just putting in the clean black outline of a pumpkin, no fill, doodle style. The style that I am selecting, you can click right here, which is styles. And then you're going to want to click on vector. The reason we need it to be vector is because we don't want it to have a background, so that it shows the color of, let's just say, the t-shirt or the sweatshirt behind it, and you're not trying to remove any backgrounds and then have to deal with the white part that gets stuck on it, and it's a whole thing. So we're just looking for the vector style, which is this one down here, which says Vintage Drawing Dolly 3. So once you've done a few of them, your recently used styles will populate here so that you don't have to go in there and select them every time, but that is where you find that style. Then I've just clicked on generate image. Then as that generates, I can go ahead and go in here and start editing just the pumpkin part to whatever I need next. So we need a bat, and they'll just start generating here as we go. So I'm gonna do things like an iced coffee, the coquette bow, a skeleton head, a skeleton hand, a scarf, fall leaves, anything that would be in the fall type of genre like this, along with some of these. So spider webs, a spider would do good, a hot coffee would do good. I don't know if I'll attempt the little hand signal, hand sign, or rocker sign, whatever that is, on this one, just to see. We'll see how many good variations we're getting. Okay, so as you can see, I've generated quite a few little images. Some of them I did twice. This one is an iced coffee. This one is just a coffee. This one I did a skeleton hand peace sign. Some of these are fall leaves compared to just fall leaf. And if you wanted to do a quick check, you can just change the color of the background of your artboard to a different color. And as you can see, it's transparent with the red showing through. So these would all work for this particular type of design style, and we don't have to worry about removing the background. So the next step is the fun part, which is just formatting your design. And if we follow along with the design trend that is popular, you can see that some of these are small, some of these are larger than others. So the point and the idea of this design style is not to make them all one particular size and all ranged in a row. In fact, you want them to be spread out and a lot of them to be different sizes. Also, it's often easier to go ahead and add your text and place that so that you can fill in with your little objects all around it, and then you're not worrying about trying to move it to make it fit. So to do that in Kittle, I've just clicked on Add Headline, which is right here, and then I'll make this a lot bigger so that we can see what we're doing, and then put our quote. So for this one, I'll probably leave it 2 rows like this. And then over here is where you can change your font. So they already have a lot of font styles that are included, which makes Kittle a great place to start so that you're not trying to go and find cute fonts that work. And for this one, I want to make sure it's in line with the font style that's working, which is like a script type of a handwritten font. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fix the spacing in between here so they're not so spread apart. And I actually changed my mind. I went under transformation and I switched it to this angle, which is right here. So this is just distorting my font. You can see that there's arch, there's rise, there's wave, and flag. So just different ways that you can configure your text really easily in ways that are popular. So I'm just going to leave it as is, and then I am going to go ahead and tilt it so it's pretty, nope, we don't want to do that. We want to make it right here in the center and make it just a tiny bit bigger. And then I'm going to center it up where it needs to be, so right there, and then I'll go ahead and fill in with the rest of my little objects. Okay, so all I did was go through and basically duplicate each of them and then kind of twist and turn them and angle them so that they were all in different types of locations and sizes. I did want to point out that I did try the star, which was this, but the type of star that I'm looking for is this type in the example, which is like the little retro doodle style here. And this is what's really great about Kittle's illustration. So if you go ahead and type in or click first illustrations on the side and then star, you're going to get types of results like this. So for whatever reason, the AI is not understanding doodle star or retro star, and I don't like this one. So we'll just get rid of that and then go ahead and add in some of these throughout the design. I can also get a few other ones. I just want to make sure that it's things that are going to look good with the transparent background. So we don't want anything like this with color at all, just due to the style. This like grungy one though would work really well, assuming I can change the color on this. Some of these you won't be able to change the color. So this is an example of one that wouldn't work, whereas with this one, you can change the color. So you can see the illustration colors over here in the panel, because in just a minute we're going to change all of this from being black to being more of a fallish color. So that one unfortunately wouldn't work, so we're going to look for a different one. Also, to change the directions of these, if you just click on it and then click on this little more options here, you can find the one that says flip horizontal or flip vertical, and that changes the position so that it's not with the little star on this side over and over again. Okay, so I think I have everything that how I like it finally. And now I have the song stuck in my head. So now we're gonna go ahead and change all of the colors at once. So to do that, we just want to select everything. So I'm just grabbing everything like that and then coming over here to the colors. So I'm going to change it to some type of fall color. This could be like in the burnt orange. I don't want to necessarily leave it black. It could be a lighter pastel color like one of these, or it could just be orange. I've seen a lot of hunter greenish ones doing well when I looked through the fall designs. Obviously, like for an ocean one, you'd want to keep it blue like this. This one's not doing well, but it's just been put up, but it's black, and so I want to stay away from that. Obviously, if you are doing one that is on a dark background, you would want to make sure it's white like this. Obviously, the Christmas ones are red or full color like this. And so for this one, I'll probably just do an orange or a burnt orange type of shade. So then I can come over here and switch my colors to get it to the shade of orange that I want. And then I can quickly click here and then move my little mouse around till I find the exact shade of orange that I want. I want it a little bit darker just because I want to make sure that it shows up on like a cream type of sweatshirt, which is most likely what this is going to look best on. So I'm going to just keep moving it down here till I like this shade of in between of orange and brown, which is burnt orange. And then I'll just leave it here and then it's ready to go. So to quickly download this, you'll just click over here on the export button and then click on remove background, because we don't want a background on this, and then optimize quality. I always just click this just to make sure it is the highest quality for printing purposes for whoever's going to use this, or if you were creating this for your own print on demand store, then you would want that as well. And then just click download. As you can see, it's downloaded with a fully transparent background, just like that. And then our next step is to add this to a mock-up. So now moving on to the next step, which is all about creating a high performing Etsy listing. So for me, when I was creating my digital designs and Tumblr wraps, PNG designs for shirts, you want to be really careful when choosing your mock-up. So a mock-up is what the item is placed on, which is just like this. It can be anything like this folded layout one, or one on a model like this, or you could even do one that is on a flat white background if you don't want to go through the process of purchasing mock-ups like this, though it is highly recommended just because they have been known to outperform listings that are just like this. So in my shop, as you can see here, obviously for Tumblr designs, they would need to be mocked up on a Tumblr because they simply do not convert as just a square design is what it would be if you were to put it up this way, because most people wouldn't know what it's for. So this is an example here of a PNG design that I did just put up on a white background that has done really well for me in the shop. So you can always test it putting it on a white background or putting your design on a mock-up like this and see if it does convert better. So for me personally, I like to upload mine on mockups. So to do that, you can just upload your mockup files here in Kittl. So I've just clicked on upload right here, and this is one that I've already had uploaded in here. And then you'll just go ahead and add the design that you uploaded or that you downloaded and uploaded it in here. And then it will take a little bit of formatting if your mock-up is, say, crooked like this one or slanted because of just the pose that they are in. So you want to make sure that you do adjust it and then zoom it in appropriately of where someone would actually print that. So you can see it would go all the way to about there and then moved up there. And then you can see that it looks really, really realistic, like how it would be printed. It does look higher quality, and I've always just gotten my mock-ups directly from Etsy. So you can just find ones by typing in trendy mock-up, trendy sweatshirt mock-up, new t-shirt mock-up, things like that. And you will get these types of design mock-ups. As you can see on the PNG files, these are ones that are very similar to the ones that I have, and these can all just be purchased off of Etsy directly. They typically range anywhere from $1 to a couple dollars. So if you were to spend about $10, you would be able to have a full lineup of different sweatshirts and t-shirts of mock-ups so that you're ready to go and upload your listings with the highest quality type of mock-ups that you can. If you aren't familiar with, like if you aren't able to get them due to price, or you're just not sure what ones are trending, it's just recommended just to do it on a white background like this, but just make sure that it's actually formatted, because with this one, you can't really tell because it's cut off. So make sure it's sized correctly and that it's really clear or zoomed in so you can see the full image. So once you have your mock-up images ready, and you typically do want to have a minimum of 5 different images, just because that is what Etsy recommends. Though you can have all the way up to 20 images, it's just not really likely with digital products. You're going to need to include 20 different listings. So a lot of people like myself will include supplemental images of like how to download their digital design. So I'm just clicking on this one, for example. It will say that this is a digital product. It will say how to download them. So as you can see, how to download digital files just to fill up the extra space. And then it actually explains that this is not a physical product. It's a digital design. So you could have some disclaimer images in like that to fill out the spots. Next, we want to make sure that we are titling and tagging our listing in a way that can be found. So that means your title needs to be optimized with keywords of people that are actually searching for these item or words that people are actually searching for. So in this case, it would be American flag, elk, hunting, hunter, sublimation, blah, blah, blah. All you want to look at is when you are finding your trending products, you want to apply the keywords in a way that makes sense, that someone would be searching for, entering in those words. So it could be fall PNG, it could be fall digital design, trendy fall shirt design would be an example. And you just want to structure it in a way that makes it readable to the buyer, and in a way that they would actually be typing this into the Etsy search bar is the most important. If you can take away anything, just think of it in terms of how would a customer type this in when they are looking for a fall t-shirt PNG design. Additionally, you can always scroll to the bottom of the listing page. So say for example, for this fall one, which pretty much this is everything that you would want to include in there. I wouldn't include wall art because it's not specifically for wall art. I would include a shirt design or a sweatshirt design because that's specifically what this is for, but that remains to be said. Always take a look and apply only actually what applies to the product that you're selling, and not something like wall art. So you can always scroll down to the bottom, and this is where it's going to give you more related searches. So Etsy actually provides us with the information of other keywords that people are putting in real time when they are searching for this type of item. So we have things like doodle fall PNG, we have fall trending, we have cute designs, we have fall DTF PNG, which is just a different type of sublimation. Printing is a type of printing. DTF is a type of printing. PNG designs for sweatshirts. So this is really, really helpful when you are looking for additional keywords to apply to your listing, both in the title and the tag section of your listing. Okay, so step number 5 in how I built the type of shop that can scale to over $47,000 per month is that I created my own traffic. So right from the beginning, when I started having $15,000 months on this digital design shop, I immediately thought, how could I control the traffic so that I could let the people know who was already buying my designs that I had new designs every single week. And so it was at that time that I decided to build my email list. As opposed to social media like Facebook or Instagram, YouTube, or anything like that, we don't own our audiences on social media platforms. as with we don't own our shoppers or our buyers and customers on Etsy, as it is a marketplace. The place that we do own our customers, because they actually opt in, is an email list, which is why I started one. So from the beginning, I would add in an additional file to the digital designs. You have 5 slots when you create a digital download listing on Etsy, and one of those was always an opt-in. And that just means it was a PDF that linked them to a page where they could opt in to join my email list and receive new free weekly designs. When I would send out a weekly email with those free designs to get them to open the email, which is why I offered them free designs to opt in. So most likely nobody is going to join your email list if you are just saying, come join my email list. You have to give them something of value for free to opt in. So this could be information. If it is in the teacher printable niche, you could do lesson plans, or if you know how to make lesson plans, I guess, or you know how to create them or get someone to create them. Or it could just be a free teacher printable, an additional one. In my case, it was free digital designs, obviously in the sublimation space, because that is what they were already buying. So you need to make sure that you offer something free that they actually want. So I would offer free additional designs for them to join the email list. And then each week on Friday, I would just send them an email that said, here are your free weekly designs. And then in the email, it would say, also on Etsy, I released these other additional designs. Often they would be corresponding with the types of design themes that I released that week, because if they liked one of the free designs, but then they saw there was another one that was created in a different type of style or aesthetic, but they need the additional matching one, then they would go and purchase it. And inevitably, a certain percentage of people would always go and purchase my weekly designs. Over the next year of starting that in 2022, the email list grew to over 20,000 people. And so this is really substantial when you think about, you just need a very small percentage of people to open the email, click it, and then purchase it. Also, what this did is skip the Etsy algorithm completely. So I wasn't reliant on Etsy to rank my products and figure out the keywords, as I was sending the people to just purchase it immediately. And what this does to Etsy is just send a signal that the item is in great demand. People purchased it within a few days of it being listed. And so that would immediately rank it in the algorithm, because the number one thing that Etsy prioritizes on the search platform is sales. So if you can get sales as quick as possible, it's going to immediately rank your listing. The easiest way to create your email list and keep collection of your customers' email and quickly send them out an email when you do have new products is to use a landing page builder and email autoresponder such as Everbee, which is what I still personally use to this day. So with just a few clicks, like literally 4 or 5 clicks, you can have your landing page set up and begin sending traffic to it. I do have an entire video on how to quickly set this up and how to send your weekly emails. It will be popped up on the screen here. When you build an email list, you can also then go on to build your own off Etsy, either membership site or just a regular site. I personally built a membership site called Bailey Tumbler Designs, where people can purchase a monthly membership and have unlimited access to all of my designs, which we now have hundreds and hundreds of members that go and purchase that membership. So it has created an additional stream of income in addition to just the designs that sell on Etsy. Now, a lot of people ask me if I ran ads. So I didn't run ads for the first 4 months of launching my digital design shop. And that was because I really didn't know what I was doing in terms of design and style and what was actually selling. So it wasn't until I started getting a lot of organic sales that I began to run ads. And at that time, it was a simple $5 a day budget. And it was in that month that I hit my first $15,000 month. So with about $5, so about $300 a month. Now, at the height of my shop, when I was doing the $47,000, $45,000 months, I was running about $100 a day in ad spend. So that was about a $3,000 budget. These days, I cannot go back that far in my Etsy dashboard for you to see the ROAS or the return on the ad spend that I was getting, because the dates just simply don't let you go past November about 3rd, 2023. So I'll go ahead and put that in here now so that you can see the type of ROAS that I was getting at that time running those types of numbers. Usually it would never spend the full $100 per day, but we'll see if the last available date that it gives me in November, if it does, just depending on how much was spent that month. So as you can see here, I've typed in 11/3 of 2023 so it's not going to let me do last year either, to the end of November. And you can see that the spend was $2,700. The amount of orders from that amount of spend was 1,500 of my orders, and the revenue brought back 3,700. So it was about a 1.37 return on ad spend. The best it ever got was about a 2. If I'm remembering correctly, but it's been a very long time since I've ran that kind of an ad spend, but it was always profitable. And the way that I structured my ads was always just to have the ads running on listings that were always performing well organically. So I would wait until and see if my audience from my email would purchase them. And if they proved to be bestsellers or a lot of people purchased them right away, I would immediately go ahead and add them to my ad budget so that they would run immediately from that point. So really the steps to building my Etsy shop to this level comes down to about 6 steps. And that is really just to create, test, and analyze and do a high volume of listings, especially if you are in this niche. When I was really scaling this shop, I was doing anywhere from 10 to 20 listings per day, and that was usually 4 to 5 times per week. So that meant I was able to test a very high number of listings to see what was selling and what wasn't. I really focused on volume over perfection. There were many times when things were not perfect. I've even had misspelling errors that I had to go back and fix. But the reality was I was doing such a high volume that I got really good and really fast at creating these designs at scale. And that's really how I was able to get that type of momentum. I was always creating 2 to 3 months ahead of the next big holiday or design season. And my designs always were 50% for holiday seasons, and then 50% were always evergreen. So things like for teachers or for different types of occupations. So I was never just heavily focused on like seasons and holidays. There were always a set that were dedicated to being evergreen, meaning that they would sell year round. I also focused on putting best-selling listings into my ad spend. And then finally, I was always in constant communication with my audience via my email list. So these were people obviously that were already interested in my designs. They liked the styles, and it really just created what I now call my automated traffic circle, because they would buy something, opt into the email, get more emails, and buy again. So again, this led me to circumvent the Etsy system or algorithm because I wasn't reliant on Etsy ranking me, and I was able to send the traffic as needed. Again, be sure to grab the free starter guide for Etsy down below. It does come with 100 prompts that I personally created that you can use to get ahead and create some designs, whether you are selling PNG designs or Tumblr wraps designs, or even in the SVG space. A lot of these can be modified to fit your different type of product. You'll just have to do some basic editing. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.